Let's do some Christmas crafting. Today we're taking some not so great items from the Dollar Tree and giving them a makeover. I saw this tinsel covered tree at the Dollar Tree and I thought it had a very unique shape. I'm just taking all the plastic off of it here and I'm going to remove the nubs that are on the tree, but that ended up not being necessary because I'm covering this all up very well, so it wouldn't have mattered if those nubs were on there, so you can skip that step. But I covered, just to give me a base, I covered the tree with some masking tape. I painted the base with some brown chalk paint. Did that on the star as well. Now I'm just going to cover everywhere where this brown masking tape is with some moss. This is super easy, just gluing and trimming moss until you have it all covered. After that top section on the tree was covered, I realized that it would look better if I did some green paint underneath the moss, just in case you could see through the moss and any little spots. Then you wouldn't notice so much. Then for the base, I'm just covering it in twine. But first, I'm going to put some chipboard on the bottom to have something to glue the twine to on the bottom. Now this tree was not acting like it would fall over. It wasn't too top heavy or anything, but just in case, I did put a little bit of hot glue in the base of the tree to weight the base down just a little bit more. I have this berry garland from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to wrap it around the tree, but first I found a good place where the garland would poke into the tree through that tape, and then I'm just wrapping it around. And at first I wasn't adding hot glue, but then I decided it would be better to add hot glue underneath the garland just every once in a while so that it would keep it a little more stable and it wouldn't move around. I have these fake pearls here from the Dollar Tree, and I painted them with True Burgundy by Folk Art, and then I just hot glued them to the tree. This is just a quick reminder that if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any future videos. I grabbed this tinsel covered candy cane set from the Dollar Tree. I think that's what you call it. What do you call the shiny plastic stuff that they put on these decor items of the Dollar Tree? I think they're called tinsel. If they're not, correct me in the comments. That way I won't continue to call it that. But I went ahead and separated them, the two sort of candy canes stuck together, and I did cut off the little knobs, the little nubs that were keeping the tinsel in place to make the edges more smooth. And I also glued them together so they wouldn't come apart. And then where I cut them apart, there was this sort of uneven space, so I just took a Q-tip and filled that in, and then over that I put some hot glue just to even out the shape and make sure there wasn't like a hole or a flat spot on the back of the candy cane. I have this red ticking stripe fabric that I got from walmart.com, and I'm just going to cut a couple of stripes out into strips, and then I'm going to wrap the candy canes at an angle. I just used some random trimmings from Christmas florals that I had to decorate these candy canes. If you cut a pine cone, where you cut it will resemble a flower, and so I used that on one of the candy canes. I really love how these turned out. You can buy packs of plastic candy canes that you could wrap and cover, and it would be more cost effective, but they are smaller candy canes. So these were a good size, and their shape lends them well to being ornaments and hanging them on your tree. I have some of these wooden snowflakes from the Dollar Tree and some tissue paper here. I'm going to use Mod Podge and just trying to be neat here with the Mod Podge, go over them with a coat, and whenever I get it fully covered, I turn the tissue paper, glue this to the back of the tissue paper. While the Mod Podge is still wet, you want to do this step while it's still wet, and you want to have a bowl of water nearby. I'm going to hold the snowflake with some pliers and then light that tissue paper on fire so that it's less sanding for me to do. It's difficult to sand in little bitty spaces like this. Now, I have the flame underneath the snowflake, so you could, if you do this, be careful. But also, you want to not so much put the flame underneath it. That will make it black on the back, as you can see. I went a little heavy-handed with the flames, more so than I needed to. With the next one that I made, I did much better in not blackening the back. I did use some antique wax on the back, and so that evened the coloring out and made that blackening a little less noticeable. You might be wondering what that black stuff is in the bowl of water. Well, I've seen other crafters use this technique, and I'm pretty sure I've done this burning technique before with decoupaging with tissue paper, especially when there's a lot of fine details that you would have to sand around. But I tried it at first with real paper this time around just to see what would happen, and what happened was pretty big flames. And it just didn't do the same thing as it does with tissue paper. So I had to dunk that into the water. Had some pretty big flames going. You're going to end up lighting your wood on fire more than likely if you try this with regular paper. So definitely, if you're going to do this, have water nearby and do tissue paper, not regular paper. I have another one of these motion activated ornaments from the Dollar Tree, and I like that they can be opened up and you can put whatever you want to inside. I went ahead and took some wire cutters and cut away those two nubs that are sticking up so they wouldn't be in the way of what I'm going to put in here. This will be a printable in the description box for you. You can size it up or down, just depending on how you want your ornament to look and what ornament you use. But I sized it specifically for this ornament from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just using the existing insert as a template to trace around to cut out a replacement insert here. And I did print that on ivory cardstock. This ornament is held together by just 2 screws, so it's really easy to take apart. Because I'm not going to be using the sound and the speakers and the battery pack, I'm just covering the back in some lightweight spackling. You can find that at the Dollar Tree usually. And then I'll sand that smooth, and then I'm giving it a coat of truffle chalk paint by Waverly, as well as the top of the ornament on the front too. After that chalk paint dried, I went over it with gold leaf rub and buff. I just put some faux snow inside, and I noticed where the screw on the bottom goes, I could see that green paint sort of shining through that plastic. And so I opened that up and put a little white paint so that wouldn't be so noticeable. This ornament needed a little something else, and so I have these self-adhesive strips of half beads, and I painted them I did the same paint job on them as I did the rest of the ornament. Truffle chalk paint and gold leaf rub and buff, and then I used some Aleene's tacky glue to adhere them all around the edges there. Let me know what you guys think about these down in the comments. I so appreciate you watching today. I hope you have a wonderful day. See you in the next one.